Hey everybody, welcome back to this video series on how to make a helicopter in Autodesk Fusion 360. So thank you everyone for your continued support. We are very close to reaching our YouTube partnership requirements. Again, I've done my best to make these videos completely free of cost, which means I've put in a lot of time and effort into them. So please consider subscribing to my Patreon so I can make these videos more sustainably, or you can make a one-time donation on my link tree. I'm also starting my own podcast, which has some amazing guests and some amazing topics. If that's something that you're interested in, please follow the links in the description below. Right, let's get back to making our helicopter in Fusion 360. All right, so the last time we left off with making the end part of the tail, and obviously if you show this model to somebody, they will tell you that it's a helicopter, which is a big step up from the first time we started this model. Now, one final thing that we can do before we work on the details of this helicopter are work on the skids. Now, the skids are basically like the landing gear of a helicopter. Some helicopters use wheels, but some helicopters also use skids. This particular one uses skids, so that's what we're going to go with. So from the right-hand side, we can see that these skids are mainly made up of three little pieces. So there's one member over here, there's one member over here, and both of these members are joined at the bottom with this one longer member. Then there are also these sort of clips that are part of the fuselage which hold the skids in place. So if you want to, you can pause the video right now and have a try by yourself. It will increase your practice as well. The hint I'm going to give you now is use some circular cross sections and sweep them. Great, so if you're watching this without trying, go back and try this first. Okay, so I'm going to create a sketch on the plane of symmetry, and I'm going to zoom in into that section over there. I'm going to press P on my keyboard to project. Hopefully these are things you already know by now. And I'm going to click on bodies instead of specified entities. I'm going to click on the fuselage, and I'm going to press OK. Hopefully that should create that bottom line of the fuselage right over there. Instead of pressing C on my keyboard to come up with a circle, I'm going to be using a different type of circle. So under Create, I'm going to go to Circle and 2-point circle. I'm going to snap one of the points onto the fuselage and another point down here. Maybe you can make this 11.5. And obviously, if you want to, you can just make this go directly underneath, but I'm going to make this at an inclination because that's exactly what our blueprints are doing. So I'm going to just go ahead and do that. Okay, and once you're done with this circle, just go ahead and press Escape. Now, what we want to do is somehow create a path for this circle. And if you look at it from the front view, we want to create a path that's sort of going straight over here and then going downwards like this. So there are two ways we can do this. One thing is to extrude this first, just as a normal linear cylinder. Then we can use that cylinder to create an axis, create a plane on that axis, and then draw the path from there. Or we can do what I'm going to show you now. So I'm going to press L on my keyboard to create a line, and I'm going to click on the center of the circle, and I'm just going to go up in the same inclination as we drew the circle in. So I'm just going to double click there, and there we go. Press Escape, and now you can see that we have this one line which sort of acts like the radius of our circle. I'm going to go ahead and press Finish Sketch, Construct, Plane at Angle, and just click on that plane right there. And you'll see what it's going to do if you press OK. It's created this plane over here that's at a slight inclination to the front plane. So create sketch, and we're going to use this new plane to create this new sketch. And again, you can see that Fusion 360 automatically took you perpendicular to that plane so you can draw in it. However, I'm going to go back to my front view because that is where my reference blueprint is. All right, so I'm going to press P on my keyboard, and I'm going to reference by clicking on specified entity, so this purple icon over here, and I'm going to press the center of that circle that we drew earlier. And I'm going to press OK. So if you go back to the front, you can see that this purple, the center of the circle has now turned purple, which means we can now reference it. I'm going to press L on my keyboard, and I'm going to snap to that point and just drag it outwards. And this I want to make into a straight line. Great, so far so good. Now I'm going to click on Fit Point Spline. I'm going to make one point over here and the other point towards the center of that circle over there. Okay, I know right now it looks like a straight line, but once we start controlling these points, you can see that this adds a bit more curvature to it. Now what I want to do is these green lines, which are tangential to the blue lines that we just created, we also want this to be tangent to the black line that we created earlier. So I'm going to click on that sort of dot over there. I'm just going to drag it till it snaps to this point over here. And now you can use this to adjust the curvature. And there we go. So that looks like a pretty good path to me. I'm going to press Finish Sketch. And hopefully now I should just be able to sweep this normally. So create, sweep. That's the path I want. Sorry, that's the profile I want, and this is the path I want. There we have it. So I'm going to create this as a perpendicular path, perpendicular orientation, and new body, and I'm going to press OK. This is a little bit too heavy in my opinion. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to edit the circle that we created earlier. So edit sketch. And instead of 11.5, I'm going to make this 8.5. And hopefully Fusion should automatically fix this. Obviously, these are things you should already know by now because we've done this a couple of times. Okay, and finish sketch. There we go. So that's our first member complete already. Now, we know that the one behind is identical to this one. So it's actually pretty simple. Just go into your bodies folder and click on this one, which highlights the member that we just created. Right click on it, move copy, and there's an option here that asks you, that lets you create a copy over here. So just click on that and just drag this backwards. And make sure you're just using the horizontal arrow and nothing else, because we want to move this horizontally only. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and press OK. Now you will notice that this member touches the fuselage almost perfectly because that is how we created this. However, the fuselage does go upwards towards the back, which means this is no longer touching that path. And we are going to fix this when we make the clips. Okay, great. So now let's work on the bottom side of this. So this is a sort of like long, slender beam over here that we need to make. So there are a couple of ways of going about doing this, but I'm going to take advantage of the fact that this is actually a straight path and it only sort of bends towards the end. Now, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to create a plane that is parallel to this one, and I'm just going to drag it back till you can see the end of this path, end of this member over here. So somewhere over there. Now, if this is not too accurate, don't worry about it. You can extend or deduct the cross-section as much as you want. So I'm going to press that, just go back to it, create a new sketch on top of this new plane. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press P on my keyboard to project that one over there. So I know roughly what cross-section of the area, what cross-section area that specific part has over there. I'm going to press C on my keyboard and I'm going to just snap to that middle section there and drag outwards. So this one is a lot thicker than the two members that we just created. So maybe I'm going to make this 13, and obviously we can change this if we wanted to. Finish sketch, go back there, and you can see that we created this path of this section over here. I'm just going to go ahead and press extrude and drag this to the front. Obviously go back to the right plane, and I'm just going to leave it over here. Again, I'm going to make this new body instead of cut, and go ahead and press OK. Again, this is a lot thicker than the blueprint, which means I made a mistake. So let's go back to the sketch, edit sketch, and instead of making this 13, let's make this 11. And finish sketch. Now let's have a look. It's still a little bit thicker than the blueprint, but I think it looks decent, so I'm going to keep it like this. Okay, so now what we can do is we can go ahead and press construct, axis through cylinder, press on this cylinder, and you can see this sort of really long axis in turquoise, and press OK. And now what we can do is also construct plane at angle and use this as our reference. Obviously, we do not want it at that angle. We're going to take it to 90 degrees so it's facing us, and then go ahead and press OK. New sketch, and we're going to sketch on this new plane. Zoom in, press P on your keyboard to project, and we're just going to project that section, so that face over there of the cylinder, so we know where the midpoint is, and just draw a line straight from there to maybe somewhere there. Yep, and then just create a fit point spline from there till somewhere over here. And you might encounter an error over here, and let's hope this error actually pops up so I can tell you how to fix it. So just drag this line till it snaps. Okay, it doesn't want to snap, so maybe use the other one and snap it to that black line. Again, because we want to make this tangential. And I'm going to make it something like this. Go ahead and finish the sketch. And hopefully now, if you sweep, you'll see what I'm talking about. Create, sweep, use that as a cross-section, and use that as a path. There we go. So see what's happening is the sweep would create an illegal surface. Try changing the profile or path. Now, you might get this error, or the other error that you might get is the path would intersect itself or something along those lines. And if we really think about it, with the orientation being perpendicular, so if the orientation was parallel, there would be no problems. Because when you zoom in to the orientation that says parallel, you can see that the cross-section areas are parallel to themselves. Whereas if you click on perpendicular, you can see that the cross-section areas are perpendicular or normal to the path that we've drawn. And the reason why this is giving, this specific orientation is giving an error is because of the cross-section size of the diameter of the cylinder. So just imagine it doing this and trying to go upwards like that. Basically, the top section of the cylinder would actually have to intersect itself in order to get up there. And that just means that the path we've created is too steep in some way for this to occur. So there are two ways to fix this. Either just go to parallel and see if you like this. It looks a little bit weird. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cancel this for now. Or actually, no, let's go ahead and sweep it in that way and make this parallel and press OK. And then we can just go back and change it. So let's right click on the sketch, edit the sketch, and instead of making it this steep, maybe we want to make it a little bit lighter. So make it do something like this. Okay, let's see if maybe that would fix anything. Okay, that looks a lot better. So just edit feature, and let's see if perpendicular works now. There we go. Right. So basically, anytime you encounter something like this, just make sure that the cross-section area of the cross-section size of what you're trying to sweep isn't intersecting itself with the path. So either you can change the way the path looks or decrease the size of the cross-section. All right, so now you can go ahead and join this, press OK, and there we have it. That's that. So now this, and this are now connected. And that looks pretty good to me. One more thing that we could do is instead of having this come straight up, we could alternatively also make it curve inwards. But that would require a 3D sketch, and you can try that bit out yourself. It's a lot of fun to work with. Okay, so now let's just go ahead and work with the clips. So in order to work with the clips, I'm just going to create a sketch again on the plane of symmetry. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press P on my keyboard, and I'm going to select bodies again, click on the fuselage again like we did the first time, and press OK. Now we're just going to go ahead and use the center diameter circle. Make sure that that's at the center, and just drag this outwards till you are happy with the size of the clip that you're going to extrude. Okay, just double click over there. And one more thing that I want to do is actually project, instead of bodies now, specified entities. And what I want to project is the cross section of this member, and press OK. So now if you highlight this, you can see that this section without the inside circle is now a complete selection. And if I actually hit this body, if I hit the fuselage, you can see that I can also select that. Okay, and that's exactly what we want to do. We want to select the entire thing. Or for now, let's just select this one. All right, finish the sketch, extrude this outwards. All right, and you can extrude this to whatever you like. Maybe I'm just going to leave it maybe around 8, and a new body. Press OK. And again, just right click, move copy, create copy, and go back. And obviously, because we also moved this member horizontally, we can just move this one horizontally as well, and hopefully that should match up right away. Now, we can spot a problem here, and the problem is that this is now not complete. So what we can do instead is go back to where we extruded this clip section, just right-click Edit Feature, and also select that upper piece as a feature that you want to extrude. And now if you press OK, this will now become one single part. You can see if I hover over this, it has the entire circle. And because we moved this exact thing backwards, you should also see the circle complete over there. And now this way, the fuselage and this clip are no longer detached. It's now a complete circle. All right, guys, so I think that's it. Now, one final thing we can do is just mirror this. So I'm just gonna go to construction and hide the axis. Okay, and I'm gonna take body 107, body 106, 105, 4, and 3, create mirror. Mirror plane is going to be this one. And either you could join this or create a new body, which I'm just going to create a new body. And there we have it. So now your helicopter also has skids. And now you can go ahead and press save if you haven't been doing that already. So that's it for this tutorial, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Obviously, please continue liking, commenting, and subscribing. It really helps out. And obviously, do consider subscribing to my Patreon as well. I'm trying to create a really nice community of like-minded people to share some amazing ideas and also start some Zoom calls once a month or once in 2 weeks. Obviously, I am starting my podcast as well. We have some amazing guests with some amazing topics, some very intellectually stimulating conversations. So if that's something that you're interested in, please follow the links in the description. And I'm also releasing my music album, which should hopefully come out in a month or two's time. But the teasers have started rolling out. And obviously, if you're a fan of deep lyrics and honestly just enjoy good music, do give it a listen. It'll help me out a lot. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching and have a great day ahead. All right, see you next week.